Hey, Mike, guess what?
What?
Mike, raging rivers, hungry bears, drastic avalanches, roaring seas, no matter how prepared you are, a walk in the woods can go from innocent to disaster in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
When pushed to their breaking point, humans are capable of astonishing things that you would never thought of possible.
Yeah.
Listen to In the Wild as they explore the most heroic, terrifying, and phenomenal stories of real people who survived the unsurvivable. Learn what went wrong, what went right, and how you can make it out alive if the worst case ever happened to you. In the Wild podcast reviews on Apple include Love Your Podcast from Laura. It's scary how relentless nature can be. I always enjoy this podcast at work. It keeps me on the edge of my seat. Or how about we go with Hiker 0001? Good stories and good narration. I like when there are sound effects that add to the ambience of the story. In the Wild podcast on Apple Podcasts and everywhere you get your podcast downloads.
Broadcasting across the nation from the East Coast to the West, keeping you up to date on technology while enjoying a little whiskey on the side, with leading edge topics, along with special guests, to navigate technology in a segmented, stylized radio program. The information that will make you go, Pull up a seat, raise a glass with our hosts as we spend the next hour talking about technology for the common person. Welcome to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm.
Welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, the show that makes you go, Technology news of the week, the show for the everyday person, talking about technology, broadcasting across the nation with insightful segments on subjects weeks ahead of the mainstream media. We welcome our radio audience of 35 million listeners to an hour of insightful technology with a little whiskey on the side. I'm Nathan Mumm. Welcome to our show today. We live stream during our show on 5 of the most popular platforms, including YouTube, Twitch.tv, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We encourage you to watch us live or visit us at the website techtimeradio.com. Yes. Tweet us during the show at hashtag TechTimeRadio, and we'll do our best to respond to your tweets on the air. You'll also check out our new TikTok channel by looking for TechTime Radio on our TikTok app. I'm your host, a technologist with over 30 years of technology expertise, working for Fortune 500 companies across the country. My co-host.
What's going on over there?
Okay, so as we started the show,
you did your ritual too late.
Well, no, and my cable got stuck underneath my chair, so I was running around. We're getting on here on the air, so I'm a little bit.
Okay, focus.
Okay, Mike Gorday is an award-winning author, originally from Arizona. Mike's a human behavior expert living in the Seattle area with a master's degree in forensic psychology. Mike helps me from geeking out while providing an insight into human behavior and how it interacts with technology. We're two friends from different backgrounds, but bring the best technology show possible every week from our family, friends, and fans to enjoy. Welcome, everyone. Today we have a lot of stories, and our top stories in the first 5 minutes that were all candidates for our technology fail of the week. Let us see if we actually picked out the right one during the show later.
We'll find out.
All right, now let's start today's show.
Now on today's show.
All right, today on Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, artificial intelligence tools failed to reduce recruitment bias. I know you're going to be talking about that, Mike. The Quest Pro is unclear, just like Metaverse, and Kanye West is buying a social media company, or just we, as he goes by, Kanye, or I.
Kanye.
Kanye.
Yay.
Yay, as he goes by, okay. Finally, we have an old...
Kanye might be working.
I think Kanye West has worked just fine.
Okay.
Finally, we have an alternative to spying on your employees at work. Instead of that, we have a virtual office.
Is this an alternative? Is that what you said?
Well, it's kind of an alternative. We'll talk about that, and specifically why I've actually recommended this to a couple companies that I consult with. Our guest, Brett Martin, explains an actual virtual office on his application platform called Kumo Space. This week, the technology fail comes to us from a unique company and process that we're going to be talking about. Again, we had a whole bunch of beginning areas that we could have used for our technology fail. It's just a lot of interesting technology items that are going on. Of course, we always have our Mike's mesmerizing moment this week in technology and a possible Nathan Nugget. The Nathan Nugget is not about an item. It's kind of a rant. So if we get to there, it's going to be kind of an interesting. It's going to be Nathan
ranting
about some social media aspects.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So sit back, raise a glass, and welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. As always, we have our whiskey tasting during the commercials to see if you like our selected whiskey pick of the day. If it gets 0, 1, or 2 thumbs up at the end of the show, you want to make sure you listen all the way through. And you'll also hear a Mark Mumbles fact about the whiskey itself. Now it's time for the latest headlines in the world of technology.
What's happening in the world of technology? This is our top stories in the first 5 minutes.
All right, so we talked about this last week, the Facebook big announcement, right? So the Quest Pro is this new device. Yeah. It's unclear about how successful it is, just like the metaverse. All right, so we're going to go through.
It's been a week, right?
What's that?
It's been a week, right?
It's been a week, and it's still, I do not believe that this device is going to be the device that puts Meta on the map. And there's a lot of reason why. But right now, we're going to actually take a look at one of our correspondents' audio of what we have about this.
A year after he made his massive gamble on the metaverse, Meta announced its latest virtual reality headset at a developer conference. They're calling it the Meta Quest Pro. Catchy. The company reports the new headset contains some mixed reality features, meaning it can blend elements of the virtual world with the real world. It isn't cheap. Got the number today, $1,500. And the stakes are very high as the price for Meta. It's got to make up for the declines in other parts of the business. The company's stock price has lost more than half of its value this year. And Zuckerberg's net worth, it's plummeted by more than $70 billion since last September. Thanks so much.
What a bummer.
$70 billion. Okay, let's talk about this. So the Quest Pro is $1,499 for this device. The current device I have is $399, which is called the Meta Quest 2. Now, I actually own that device. I've loaded games up on it. I'm kind of a fan of it. It actually works pretty well for what I need it to do.
Okay. But how much time do you actually spend in the metaverse?
So I've spent probably on that device a max of 20 hours. 20 hours.
That's the reason why.
But I have 47 different games I can play because they were all on sale at different times, and I purchased them through a bunch of these bundle places. Oh, heck no. Not even close to that.
Okay.
That was about to be my question. How much money did you spend on the games?
Well, see, I get them at these humble bundle sites and these kind of sites where they put them together, so they're pretty inexpensive. So I bought a bunch of them because one of these days...
Just say cheap.
Okay, inexpensive. One of these days I'm going to sit down and go through it. But let's actually talk about this device. So it adds eye tracking and high-resolution color video feeds that blurs the connection line between virtual reality and augmented reality. The Meta Quest Pro is a sophisticated development kit type device. So this is not something that you would normally have as a consumer. This is this high-end deal where essentially they're hoping people actually test out and create software for the device itself. So it doesn't have games that are being developed for this. This is a whole development tool that they want people to spend a lot of money on. And on top of that, the battery life is worse than the current $399 model. So the $399 model lasts about 4 hours. The new device is barely able to achieve 2 hours at a full charge. So it's half that in the ability to. So the whole idea of having this device is that you don't have to have a cable plugged into you. You kind of have this whole space to move around, but not with the $1,500 device. But it does have now inward-facing cameras that look at you in the device itself. So when you actually create facial expressions, so if you raise an eyebrow, if you blink, if you kind of smirk and do a facial recognition, your avatar now does
but it only
the
does
same
it for
thing.
Your eye, around your eyes, right?
Correct.
I mean, that.
So if I squinch my nose,
the eyes do have a lot of emotional display, but you have to see a whole face to really get all the impact.
Well, Meta is betting on this device. They've spent a bunch of time to ink deals with Microsoft, Accenture, and other companies to promote the Quest Pro as a simulation training device, a 3D design tool that you would be able to have in virtual meeting spaces. So I guess Microsoft, I know they spent a lot of time developing their Teams video conferencing software, which is like the worst on the market. So now you can actually pay for a $1,500 device, and you could be in like a virtual meeting with all your cohorts.
Hey, let's go do that.
Instead of just having it. No, what you need to do for your meeting space, use Kumo Space.
Yeah,
Talk about that.
Yeah, okay, plug man.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, this is sort of like the post office raising the price of stamps so they can keep making money.
Well, I will just tell everybody I'm going to pass on this unit. as much as I like new gadgets. I'm going to wait for a reputable company like Apple or Sony to come out with their new devices that I can actually purchase instead of giving that money to Meta and Mr. Zuckerberg and his companies.
Well, yeah, they're facing a lot of problems.
They are,
and it's not just because of
kind
the
of self-induced
Facebook
too.
thing.
Some
Some
of them are self-induced.
I don't know that human beings are ready, or even if they will ever be ready for a pure virtual existence, which is what he is trying to get going.
That is correct.
And this doesn't really track with actual real life. So, okay.
All right. So we'll do story 2 about AI. Well, we go from one verse to another verse. How does that sound?
Sure.
Okay. This is your favorite. This is your favorite subject.
Because what do I say all the time? AI tools, about all these AI tools, facial recognition tools.
They never work.
They never work right. They're always. Well, now Cambridge has come out with a study that has said, yes, you're correct, Mike.
It has.
They are not working. They do not reduce bias in any significant way.
Okay.
And I'm talking specifically about these recruitment tools that companies are using to recruit employees.
Okay.
Right? So there's this growing interest, of course, in new ways of solving problems like bias. And you have a lot of these companies that have put out these electronic or AI-inspired or driven devices to overcome recruitment bias.
Okay. Yep.
But it's based on a lot of things that Cambridge has called pseudoscience. In fact, they dove deep and said it's like modern phrenology. Do you know what phrenology is?
I do not.
So phrenology is this old practice of feeling somebody's skull bumps and being able to predict their personality and future and whatnot. So this is what they have compared it with, which it isn't terribly off the mark from I've been talking about this stuff ever since we started doing the show.
Yep.
So in 2020, this study came down, and it was an international survey of 500 human resources professionals. They were using it was suggested that there was about a quarter of these that were using AI for talent acquisition in an effort to automate their hiring practices.
Okay.
However, using these have been shown to be counterproductive because these tools cannot be trained to distinguish between just skills and gender or culture or ethnicity. So they're having a lot of problems. But again, all these companies are trying to use this stuff for their recruitment, and we've run into that before.
With guests that we've had on the show.
With guests we had on, and some of this stuff is not completely pseudoscience because some of it is scientifically backed, but most of it has been this sort of conglomeration of like body language, which is not a science.
Okay. So essentially this essentially came out with what was kind of the outcome of the whole report that came out?
That these systems, these AI systems, do not reduce bias in any significant manner. In fact, Amazon had one at one point that they stopped using because they found out that it was discriminating against females.
Okay.
And it's doing this by grabbing all this metadata from their resumes and everything, and it's still being able to distinguish patterns of language and
I've looked for a couple jobs before, and I know that somehow when I had my applications out there, that clearly the AI didn't take into consideration the longevity, what the person I was working for, and I literally cut and paste the job description into one of my type of deals as a cover letter to my resume that then ended up being like 7 pages. And I immediately got a response back by just cutting and pasting their own job descriptions, because when the AI searched through it, it actually found the words that they were looking for that they listed in the job description itself.
Yeah. Well, some of these are based on some really interesting things, like one AI tool they've used is one that takes a picture of your face and is supposed to be able to determine your personality.
Yep.
Can't do that.
Okay.
It doesn't work.
Okay.
We know that some of them take pictures of your facial expressions during the interview process, and then it tries to
see if you're interacting and happy.
It tries to see what your emotional responses are, but that's based on arbitrary measurements that AI is unable to pick up on. Like when I reviewed some of the metadata from a particular company, I saw things that the computer didn't pick up on.
Yep.
So, we have this idea that we can do this, and it's just turning out to be problematic.
So really the story is AI doesn't really exist well for jobs. It probably never will.
AI is not. All right, let me just be blunt here.
Yeah.
Human beings have a problem with this stuff.
Okay.
So anything that human beings create in order to overcome this stuff is going to have the same problems that the human beings have.
There you go. That's where it's at right there, isn't it? All right. Well, you know what? Let's go on to story number 3. Kanye West is or Kanye or whatever.
Yay. I think he goes by Yay now.
Yay now. Yay West, or is it just Yay total?
I don't know. I think he's going to eliminate that, and then he's just going to be
okay.
No, just
exclamation point. Somebody else tried to do that.
Yeah, just nothing.
All right, is buying Parler after Twitter and Instagram impose restrictions on him.
There you go.
Let's listen to our correspondent covering this news story.
Ye, the man formerly known as Kanye West, is buying the conservative social media platform Parler. The company announced the acquisition today, but didn't say how much the deal's worth. This comes after both Twitter and Instagram suspended Kanye for using anti-Semitic language. According to a press release from Parler, Ye created an account on the right-wing platform today. He already has about 10,000 followers. That's not yet comparable to his 18.2 million on Instagram and his more than 31 million on Twitter. Kanye reportedly told Mr. Trump that he wants him to join Parler. It's unclear if he will, especially since the former president has his own platform called Truth Social.
All right, so let's talk about this.
Get Elon to get Twitter, and then they can
So
all
we're going to
have
talk
these
about
battles.
that. Hang on, don't be spoiling some of our upcoming stuff that we have.
Okay.
All right, so here's what we got. So Parler was founded in 2018 as a Twitter alternative. It averages 1.5 million visitors per year. That's not a very big number.
That's a lot more than Metaverse, though.
Well, 1.5 million visitors per year with 15 million total user accounts, but only about 4 million are active users. Okay, now.
Still way better than Metaverse.
Well, the traffic to Parler is ranked at a number of 41,970 globally. In the U.S. alone, traffic is ranked at a number of 10,722. That means in the U.S., there are 10,721 sites that receive more hits than Parler does.
Yeah.
Not very good for a social media platform. But you know what? He says... Ye, in a press release, says, in the world where conservative opinions are considered to be controversial, we have to make sure we have the right to freely express ourselves. And so he's looking to purchase this with an undisclosed amount. Now, here's my thought on this. Parler is struggling to exist. They have this celebrity, Kanye, or Ye, whatever you want to have, says that he's going to purchase this. All of a sudden, they get a huge boost up in their services itself. An undisclosed amount always means that there's some hidden numbers or some willy-nilly stuff going around on the back door of this. So do you think Kanye West's Parler is going to be around in the next 2 to 3 years?
No.
Okay.
No, it's going to do like these other ones, and there's going to be an influx of people, and it's going to peak, and then it's going to fall off the back end like Facebook is experiencing now.
That's right. All right, well, here we go. Story number 4. I've been waiting for this one all day.
I know.
All right.
For the reasons why.
All right.
Uranus
will be huge in November. Also on November 8th, total eclipse will drench the full moon in blood. Spooky.
Yeah, okay. You should probably qualify that statement as saying the planet Uranus.
Oh, Uranus, the planet.
Yeah, that's
I always learned it as Uranus.
I know that's why you picked the story, so...
All right, well, hang on. November nighttime skies will be treated with stargazers a bunch. There's a full lunar eclipse on the way, a couple of meteor showers, and the year's best view of Uranus. November 4th through the 5th and 17th and the 18th will be the meteor shower show. So if you learn the meteor showers, those are the dates you want to circle. November 9th.
Yeah, but you don't care about that. You're going to be watching.
On November 9th, Uranus is going to shine brightly. On November 9th, the planet Uranus will be as close to Earth as it gets all year. And it'll be a face fully illuminated by the sun. Uranus is so big and bright this time of the year, people with a good vision might be able to see it without binoculars or a telescope, even with the nearly full moon shining. There you go. Story number 4.
All right. You're completely beside yourself right now,
I enjoyed that story immensely. All right, up next we have our segment, Technology Insider, with our guest, Brett Martin, an entrepreneur and angel investor who has spent most of his career in the startup trenches. Brett is the co-founder and investor of a great new tool for every business called Kumo Space. What is Kumo Space? Well, we'll be back in a moment to give you that answer and more. You're listening to Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's happening?
Did you know for every $1 spent on email marketing, you receive $36 in return? That's pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
But it's all so complicated. All those advanced tools and features, you don't know how to approach them at all.
What if there was an email marketing platform where you don't have to rack your brains to get started? A tool that's not overloaded with unnecessary features you don't want to pay for, and, believe it or not, has a support team available 24/7, even on the free plan.
There is a solution, Mike. Let me introduce you to Sellzy, a tool that makes email marketing as easy as 1, 2, 3. With Sellzy, you can launch your first campaign in 15 minutes. No coding required. A very easy to use, intuitive email builder with over 300,000 gifts and stickers to choose from and 500,000 plus free stock images, a customizable countdown timer, and more. Create emails for any business goal, from e-commerce to nonprofits. Easily create automated email sequences for your business.
Get 24/7 support via chat, email, and phone, even on the free plan. Sellzy has just launched a special deal. You can now get a lifetime access to all Sellzy features for just $49. All the core features, unlimited emails, automation, segmentation, advanced analytics for the price of 10 lattes.
Sellzy is the easiest way to start selling with emails. Try it now. Click the link in this episode description on Tech Time Radio to get that special deal.
No commissions or hidden fees.
To learn more information, visit them at the simple and easy site to remember. Just go and visit Sellzy.com. That's SELZY.com. The easiest way to send emails.
Well, welcome back to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. Tech Time Radio is a weekly hour technology show that talks about current technology in a simple format without having to geek out. Brought to you by myself, Nathan Mumm, and Mike O'Day. We just had our first whiskey tasting during the break, and now let me tell you about what we're sipping in our pick of the day during the show. Today, we have chosen Clyde Mays Alabama-style whiskey. 85 proof, $39.99. Clyde Mays Alabama-style whiskey from Conejo Ridge Distilleries bears the name of the man responsible for the brand, Clyde May. Clyde crafted his first spirits in 1946, but it wasn't until 2001 that the distilling operation was made legal. The company built its name around the popular Alabama-style whiskey, which, according to their website, is finished with a hint of apple and is the official state spirit of Alabama. As you drink the whiskey, you immediately get the notes of cinnamon and allspice, which are followed by some vanilla tastings.
Well, that seems interesting since it was made legal in 2001.
Well, we're going to talk about that. Mark's got a bunch of mumbles on that.
Squeezins.
So I think it was made probably illegally. You ever watch the show Duke of Hazzard?
Well, yeah,
there
was a lot of liquor laws in the southern states that ban liquor in certain counties or across the state.
And moonshine runners that would transfer it from state lines to state lines?
I had a pseudo relative that was a moonshiner, so.
Yeah, now it's all legal and you can just do it and they can sell it. Now, just amazing how, remember, tobacco was illegal and then we had this. I mean, it just all those little things come around.
Those were the days.
It's just very interesting.
There we go.
All right. Okay. Well, now that we got our whiskey out of the way, we have Brett Martin, an entrepreneur, angel investor, and managing partner of a small seed stage venture fund, Charge Venture. Charge Venture is a New York-based pre-seed venture fund. Brett is the co-founder and investor of a great new tool for every business called Hummmm Space. Hummmm Space is the world's most immersive video chat platform. The virtual space combines the fun and creativity of video games and the simplicity and security of video conferencing, transforming conversations into experience and contacts into relationship. As we welcome Brett Martin to the show, we also begin our next segment.
Welcome to Technology Insider. We get the information directly from the source.
All right, Brett, welcome to the show. Okay, so now let's talk about a few of the not-so-favorite things that happens with tools like this. Employee spying, tracking every aspect of the employee at work, screenshots of the work employees every 15 minutes. These are tools that companies are asking for each and every day now. And you know what? I get asked this as an expert in technology all the time. I want to track my employees. I want to know that they're available. I want to see them in their office space itself. And I keep on telling people you don't want to do that to your employees. And so,
just talk to Mike about it. He has all kinds of things to say about that.
Mike thinks that's the worst thing in the world. So this company, Hummmm Space, is that alternative. That's what I'll say on the TechTime point of view, is this has the ability of creating a virtual office, a virtual world, where you can see people come into your office, see people and interact with them as you would in a standard office setting without having to track all the people and what they do. And it provides a couple key features that are unbelievable. All right, Brett, you know what? Welcome. Could you explain to us what Hummmm Space is?
All right. Well, thanks so much for having me, Nate and Mike. Enjoying the show. I poured myself a glass of whiskey to enjoy it with you.
Excellent. What are you drinking?
What are you drinking?
Well, it's Scotch technically. It's Lefroy, but if I had some of apple whiskey, I would try that too.
Okay, perfect.
So
we don't care if it's Scotch. We're not that.
Well, we're not that picky. We like any whiskey. the more the merrier, right?
in your boat. Well, you were talking about the Oculus earlier and talking about the metaverse, and what Hummmm Space really is, I would say, a B2B metaverse product. If you wanted to be fancy, okay. We have millions of people that are showing up to work every day in Hummmm Space. They use Hummmm Space as a virtual office. So in the same way that you would have a real office where people show up at 9 o'clock, have a little coffee, have a little chit chat, and then sit down at their desk, get some work done. Maybe they have lunch with their coworkers, and then they go and collaborate, in a conference room and whiteboard some new ideas, and then, end up the day, cranking out emails and maybe say goodbye at 6 p.m. Hummmm Space is the same thing, but it's virtual. You just show up in a two-dimensional virtual world, and your avatar is your video, and you can just walk over and start talking to coworkers just like you would in real life.
Okay.
Yeah, we've tried it.
Yeah, we actually use it at TechTime.
Cool.
At TechTime, yeah. So we actually use it in TechTime a little bit too. Okay, so I've been using Hummmm Space for about a month, and I love it. What features do a small and mid-sized business get with your application? So first off, the price is phenomenal. And so what is your cost for over 30 people a month for your whole platform? What's that monthly cost?
Yeah, so we basically, right now charge per max capacity. So it's kind of like if you were going to get a wedding space for your wedding, and you wanted to have enough room for 200 guests, you'd pay for enough room for 200 guests. Hummmm Space is the same way. So we pay $5 per seat over 30. So if you want 30 space for 30 people in your office, you'd pay $5 per month. If you wanted space for 100 people at your office, even if you had multiple floors, you'd pay $500 per month.
So it's inexpensive compared to the alternatives. If you're going to use like something for Skype or something like that, you're going to end up paying $19 to $18 per user, and you get some of these great features. So before I do that, tell me a little bit again, why this would be great for a small business.
Well, it's interesting. Right now, every manager is trying to scramble. They're trying to figure out this, remote work, the hybrid work thing. And we've got tools for texting and tools for video and, obviously the phone for audio. And yet everyone's still trying to bring people back to the office. And obviously you've probably heard a lot about Great Resignation and employees, once they got a taste of the freedom and the flexibility of working remotely, they don't want to go back to the 9-to-5 grind. They don't want to be tethered to a city five days a week, but employers feel like something's missing. And, that is what you get from the physical office. And, we're the first people to agree that there is value to having people together. There's, you connect, you have to build culture with your coworkers, you build connections, that strengthen your bonds and you make you want to stay at your job. And so at Hummmm Space, we're really just trying to replicate all the good things about a physical office, all the quick iterations, the ability to tap your coworker on the shoulder, your ability to have some off time and joke around and play games with your coworkers. We're just trying to provide that in a virtual space and do it at, a 30th the cost of actual physical real estate. And so in Hummmm Space, you can have your private office, you can close that office and, have a private conversation or a one-on-one. No one else can hear you. You can have a whiteboard where you can kind of jam collaboratively. You can open up Word documents or your CRM and work in that together. And we also have kind of, fun games. You can, play Tetris, you can play chess in Hummmm Space. So we really like to think we're just recreating a lot of the value of a physical office, but just doing it at a 30th of the cost.
All right, so explain to me about the meetings and video conferencing, right? So there's a lot of solutions. I hate Microsoft Teams, as I talked about earlier in the show even. Not a big fan of their video conference solution. I've used Zoom a lot, but now I've actually found myself using Hummmm Space and just telling everybody, hey, we're going to have a meeting in a meeting room, and then going on in and having everybody turn their camera on and everybody interact with that. So tell me about your meeting and video conferencing tools and what you guys offer in your guys' virtual environment.
Yeah, so one of the big problems that is emerging, when the pandemic came and everyone started working remotely, I think people were surprised. Wow, there's a lot you could get done with, video and phone and Slack. But I think a couple of years into it, you're really starting to see the cracks emerge, right? You're having the Great Resignation. People are talking about Zoom fatigue, talking about, burnout. People aren't feeling connected to their coworkers. They're just hopping from job to job because there's nothing to really tie them to the company's purpose. And, that's because if you start your day, working from home, you might sit down and work 6 hours before you even see another human, right? And, one of the biggest benefits of Hummmm Space is it just provides a place. Now, that place is a virtual and it's on the internet, but it's a place nonetheless to show up to work every day. So one of the best things about working in Hummmm Space is, I come into my office, people start, I get in around 9, my team starts to, sort of filter in 9:30, and all of a sudden I got 30 humans. And I can see them. I can see them collaborating. I can see them whiteboarding. I can see them working on documents together. I can see them having little chit chats or playing games. And just warming your hands by the fire of human engagement and productivity makes the day so much more exciting, so much, more feeling of connectivity that, that alone is worth the price of admission.
All right, so let's talk about meetings, right? So I have a few complaints or feature requests. This is what we'll do. So so this is my feature request.
Get ready for the feature request because we had a whole topic of it last night.
Yeah, we did. So a couple of the feature requests here. So let me ask you, is there a way to record meetings, or is this something that you're going to add at a later time so that if I do a meeting and I'm in there with a client that I invited to Hummmm Space or somebody within my group, I can have it recorded and look back at it at a later time?
So first off, Nathan, I just want to thank you for going deep on the product. You'd be surprised. We've raised tens of millions of dollars in venture capital, and a lot of the investors don't even try the product. So kudos to you for getting your whole team in there. Recording
That's the only way we do the show. Let me just tell you, everything that we do, we dive head first into, don't we, Mike?
Yeah, we try everything out and play with it.
And if we don't like it, then we don't have it on the show, and we just say, sorry, it's not any good. And so we actually like this. So, so tell me, how can we get some recordings, some additional features in the meetings?
So we really appreciate that. Well, it's not just because you asked, but recording for remote teams is really important, right? And remote teams are actually some of the biggest users of recording because so much of the work does happen async. And so we're very aware of that. And the truth of the matter is that my version of Kumo Space that I'm internally testing already has the record button. And the record button is going to be GA'd or released to the general audience sometime early next month. So your wish is my command. On that.
Okay, but that's not the big one.
Well, hang on.
What's the big one?
Hang on. Okay, so now
Get to the big one.
All right, so now let's talk about social items. We have chat feature that includes a few items that I've never seen before. They have a nearby chat, which you got to be careful with because that's the default that comes on up. So if I just start chatting and I don't know that and I'm out in the open room and say, man, I can't stand Peggy, she's just really bothering me today. Yeah. If she's around me, she may get that. It has a nearby, an entire floor, and then, of course, it has direct messaging. So explain to me what was the decision behind creating kind of this nearby, an entire floor chat message area?
Well, we realized that sort of even though Kumo Space, the beauty of it is synchronicity, right? The ability to, have a concept of a presence even while working remotely and being able to be available for your team and be able to quickly chat. We recognize that there's a place for asynchronous communication through chat. And so, yes, you can, chat with the people nearby with you in Kumo Space. They might be 3 people here and then someone else might join and you want to be able to seamlessly chat them as well. But what I can tell you is that the chat feature is going to get much more powerful in the next couple of months. You'll obviously have a chat history and you'll be able to have a record of, what you want to save and what's said in the office.
Cool.
But what'll be perhaps even cooler is that, because you are working in a virtual environment, let's just say this, your emojis, you're never going to have seen as cool emojis as you're going to see in Kumo Space. Imagine, setting something on fire and having the whole room burst into flames, or, using the wave emoji and having a tidal wave wash through the room. Cool. We think work is obviously going to be productive remotely, but should also be fun.
All right. So speaking of fun, here we go now. So you have
dominated the conversation for 20 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Night.
So you got two games right now. You got chess, which is okay, and I'm okay at chess. And then you got this Tetris game where you can have up 4. We've only had maximum 4 people at a time, but I think you can have up to 6 to 8 people at a time. You're playing Tetris. One penalizes another one. You try to see who gets first, second, and third. Whenever I play it against all these millennials and young snowflakes at a company that I'm at, that let me just tell you, they kill me, and I'm not very good at it. So I'm kind of disgruntled because I keep on losing at the game. So I made a list of suggestions. So here are games that I do well in. So I got Battleship that I've done pretty good in. Connect 4 I've done good in. Yahtzee I'm okay. That's just
hey. Just say you would like Kumo Space to have all the games in the 1990s that I grew
enjoyed.
Up in.
Yeah. So are we getting more games? Because I literally want to hire developers to get a game that I can compete with the rest of my office with, because I cannot compete on Tetris or in chess.
Nathan, don't worry. I took your advice and I went out and got an Ethernet cable before this video chat, and they had a Street Fighter arcade game in there, and I said, this needs to be in Kumo Space. So all the hits are coming.
Oh, Street Fighter! Oh my word! Arcade 1-Up. You probably saw where you're at, and
I told you this was probably on the block already. So.
Okay.
And I think what's really fun is that unlike a lot of the other tools we use for work today, remote work, right? All this SaaS, Slack, Zoom, it's so sterile, right? And my friend told me the other day, he was talking about hiring engineers, and he said, you know what, when you put people in boxes, they start to act like boxes. Yep. And a big part of our philosophy at Kumo Space is how do you create a really creative, productive environment where people can be self-expressed and be themselves? And, in an office, you have a ping pong table and, you try to bring in fun programming and, make it more lively, make it more human. And that's really what we're trying to do for remote work. And so send me all your game ideas. We're working hard to get developers building on the platform to make it a reality.
I want to ask that question.
There you go. I wrote a bunch of them down.
Yeah, I bet you did.
So I will say that at the company that we're at 4:30, we literally have people staying around now in the virtual space much longer before Kumo Space was invented, because at 4:30 we can do a little bit of a Tetris game, and we'll do a little bit of some chess competitions, and people stay logged in, even on the East Coast, because we're a West Coast company. So at the East Coast, they'll be at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and coming back into Kumo Space to participate in these events, because we can have the speakers on and we're all talking trash to them. So I'll tell you, as much as it does great with all the other tools, having some of that recreational aspects really does bring back the office space that you cannot get when you're at home. And I don't care what you try to do on a Zoom meeting. If you try to do alcohol, it's not the same as having the Kumo Space experience is more integrated.
Well, I think I said when we were testing it out that this is built around more human interaction than some of these other things. It's not just simply a spyware program.
That's right.
Right. So it's actually built to create a human connection.
And the company that I worked with specifically to roll this out, they were looking at spyware software to kind of monitor what was going on. And this has actually created the same accountability that they want to have, and actually probably even better, because if you show up to a company meeting and you show up late now and you're bringing your little avatar up to the door, we'll close the door at it because we say it starts at 9 o'clock.
We spend some time locking people out of it.
And then you just can't go to the meeting.
We play that game too.
Okay. So essentially, then you just, if you're not going to be there at 9 to respect our time, then guess what? You're not going to be at the meeting. And so then you're going to get the notes or whatever's left over. And they're like, well, I feel like I missed out. Well, yeah, get there on time and be in the meeting space like a regular office.
Stop knocking on the door.
Yeah. Now, the one thing I do say, though, is the door I never hear, because I'll go into my office and I'll close the door. So there's got to be some type of big buzzer. Now, there's an applause deal that goes across our whole floor. And there's a bong every time you get a sale. Somebody does this. And we added in a YouTube video that plays Yabba Dabba Doo, and there's a shipping thing that's done. So we've added our own kind of custom little stuff, but you do need to get a little bit of a louder buzzer when you knock on the door, because people will knock on my door all day long, and I still don't hear them with my speakers.
Well, we really appreciate the feedback, and our number one company value actually is humans first. So I'm glad that it's coming through in the software, and keep the ideas coming, gentlemen.
All right, so Brett, tell us where people can find out more about Kumo Space, where they can find out more about you. Before we go, tell them what they can do for that.
Yeah, so Kumo Space, just check it out. It's KUMOSPACE.com, Kumo Space. And if you want to hear from me, it's Brett1211 on Twitter. And we'd love to, if you just mention the show and mention Nathan's show, we will definitely hook you up with a couple free months of rent.
There you go. Okay, there you go. Perfect. All right. Yeah. Brett, thank you so much for joining the show.
All right,
that ends our segment, Technology Insider. Up next, we have This Week in Technology. So now would be a great time to enjoy a little whiskey on the side. And you're listening to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm. See you in a few minutes. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's going on?
Have you heard of Unidragon.com?
Yeah, isn't that the puzzle people?
It is. They are the largest manufacturer and sellers of wooden puzzles in the world. Let me tell you about it. They have tons of designs, all listed at $29.95 on their website at Unidragon.com.
Yeah, I know. I've seen them. I really like the owl one.
All of these are laser cut to perfection. Instead of those old traditional puzzles that you get that are done on cheap cardboard backings, these are all done with wood cutouts, laser cut. And the images, instead of the standard jigsaw puzzle, actually include different animals within the puzzle itself to put together.
It's like those big collages where they have faces that turn into Empire State Buildings and stuff.
That's correct. Absolutely. You like the charming owl?
Well, I really like the owl.
And right now, there's a special going on for any TechTime Radio listeners. If they put in the code DRAGONTech, they'll receive 10% off until June 1st, 2021.
That's cool. I'm going to put an order in today.
And of course, my favorite, the Inspiring Unicorn. Are you going to get the fox, or are you going to get the dragon, or the fish? What are you looking to get?
No, man, I'm going to get the owl.
You're gonna get the owl, not the serious panda?
No, the owl. It's all about the owl, man. I'm a night owl.
You're a night owl. You are a night owl. Visit unidragon.com today and make sure to put in Dragon Tech as your code to receive 10% off. And remember,
Yeah, those are really cool. I really like the owl.
Mike likes the owl.
And now, let's look back at this week in technology.
All right, Mike. October 18th, 1985, Nintendo releases the Nintendo Entertainment System in New York and limited other North American markets. Now, I collect stuff, right?
You have got more stuff than Toys R Us.
Well, because Toys R Us isn't around anymore. So this is the Nintendo Entertainment System Deluxe set. This is with Rob the Robot. Right here. So I have this. We actually had this up ago. It was an immediate hit. Nintendo released the games nationwide in February of 1986. Along with the NES, Nintendo released 18 games on that day. Listen to these games. 10-Yard Fight. It was a huge arcade game. Phenomenal. You'd shake your joystick or the gamepad to have the people untackle you. It came out with Baseball, which was a very good baseball clone. Came out with Clu Clu Land. Donkey Kong Jr. Math. Never played that. Of all the games,
What?
Donkey Kong Jr. Math. I didn't buy an entertainment system to do math. Duck Hunt. You ever play Duck Hunt?
Yeah, I used
That
to
was
play Duck
that was
Hunt.
amazing with the light gun and the ability to do that. Excite Bike, Golf, Gyromite, Hogan's Alley, Ice Climber, Kung Fu, Mock Rider, Pinball, Stack Up Tennis, Wild Gunman, Wrecking Crew, and the big boy, Super Mario Brothers.
Yep.
All right. That was the start of the home entertainment industry growth that was previously dominated by Atari.
This for?
This is not for sale.
Oh,
This is not for sale.
You sell everything.
Well, so if you do a 5C note, maybe we could talk about it. But otherwise, it's going to stay in the Nathan Mumm collection.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, that was This Week in Technology. Have you ever wanted to watch some Tech Time history with over 2 years of video, podcasts, and blog information? You can visit TechTimeRadio.com to watch our older shows or join the Tech Timers Facebook group. Talk to us live all the time. We're going to take a commercial break, but when we return, we have Mark's Mumbles Whiskey Review and our Technology Fail of the Week. We'll see you after the break. Tech Time Radio is brought to you today by Nutility, the platform that makes utility management seamless by selecting your service providers, splitting a single bill amongst roommates, and then shutting off your service when it's time for you to move out. Nutility reviews your preferences and sets up all the utilities for you. This provides you with the best local provider in your service area. It's much easier than splitting up your bills between roommates. No more late Larry not being able to get to you on time to make the payments, and no more Venmo charges or PayPal charges. One place to do your billing so that everybody pays on time. Now, how can you use this great service from Nutility, you ask? Aha! Well, you can absolutely get it now and get 3 months for free. That's correct. If you go to Nutility.com, again, it kind of sounds like utility, but it's Nutility.com. Use the tech code 3, and again, that's NUTILITI.com. Get your first 3 months for free using the code TECH3. From experts in technology to an expert in whiskey. Now is our segment for you whiskey connoisseurs. Welcome to the Mark Mumble of the Week. All right, Mark, thank you for giving us a mumble. Here's what Mark has to say about the whiskey that we're tasting. And, of course, it is the Clyde Mays Alabama-style whiskey, 85 proof, $39.99. Now, Mark had to start out his mumble with letting everybody know that today is National Mark Day.
What kind of Mark?
Mark Day. Well, National Mark Day is celebrated on October 18th. Mark is a traditional masculine name, which means Mars consecrated. The name Mark comes from the Latin name Marcus. Mark has also been interpreted as the war god or warlike.
Oh, okay.
So
I was thinking skid mark or something like that.
I don't know how he finds these days.
I don't know.
He's got
either,
some calendar.
Happy Mark Day.
Happy Mark Day. So there you go for your Mark mumbles. Now, Clyde Mays Rye is named after Clyde May, who was an Alabama farmer. May had a storied history of being a talented moonshiner in the mid-20th century, refining the craft over the years and ultimately spending time in a federal penitentiary because of this. There you go. Kind of, you were right on the nose there, right?
Federal penitentiary.
All right. Known for his usage of the oven-dripped apples, May would add these to his barrels during the aging process, resulting in a distinct flavor profile. In 2001, May's son recreated his father's recipe and legally began distilling Clyde Mays. This is a sweet corn-forward whiskey, easy drinking. If this is your style, then it's perfect to try. If you've never had it, you should always give it a sample first because it has a unique palate. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mark Mumbles on Mark's Day. There you go.
Okay.
All right. I kind of like it. You know what? It's got a mash bill of 50% corn, 30% rye, 15% barley. I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. All right. Well, Mark, thank you for that. Now we're going to move on to our Technology Fail of the Week, brought to you by Elderberry Boost. Get your Elderberry Boost today at elderberry-boost.com.
We are out of time. Congratulations. You're a failure.
Oh. I failed, did I?
Yes.
Did I?
Yes.
Did I?
Yes.
All right, this week's fail comes to us from across the pond in the sport of soccer. Not a big soccer
You mean
fan.
football?
Well, football, soccer. I call it the boring sport. You never know when it's over because
you just
I
threw
just
down a gauntlet
alienated.
just
I'm
now.
going to get at least probably 10 emails.
You are in trouble now.
Just send it to info@techtimeradio.com, and I'll respond to all those again like I did last
You're
week.
probably
All
going
right.
to have 1,000 of them.
All right. The Leeds United versus Arsenal game was suspended for 2 hours due to a technology failure. Leeds United versus Arsenal was suspended due to a technology failure at Ellen Road. The match kicked off and was only underway for mere minutes before the referee, Chris Kavanagh, drew the proceedings to a close. The technology used to communicate with the VAR, which is the Video Assistant Referee, the equivalent of, in the NFL, probably the instant replay. That's what we'd have, a kind of the instant replay type of deal. Now the fifth referee during a soccer game with the officials on the ground was not working.
So this was an actual fail.
It was an actual fail. This is a fail. Kavanagh instructed the players to leave the field and return to the dressing room until the situation was resolved. Fans were in their seats waiting for the match to be resumed, providing some hilarious tweets. The game would have been rescheduled if no resolution had been reached with the VR technology. So literally, if they don't have the VR technology working, they can reschedule and stop a soccer game. Fans on social media, meanwhile, were calling for the match to be played without such technology, just like the olden days without VAR.
Yeah, they just wanted to yell at the regular refs.
That's right. After troubleshooting the issue, it was decided to do a system reboot, and the VAR was back up and working.
Well, okay.
So what do you, if you have a technology issue, what should be your first step to do?
Turn it off and turn it back on.
That is like, that fixed like 80 to 90% of technology issues. Don't try to figure out a way to do it. Just turn it off, turn it back on, and normally it corrects itself.
There we go.
All right, it was back up nerd. That was our elderberryboost.com technology fail of the week. We're going to head out to our last commercial break. When we return, we still have Mike's mesmerizing moment brought to us by Story Coffee and a possible Nathan nugget or rant and our pick of the day. So sit back, raise a glass. You're listening to Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm.
How to See a Man About a Dog. It combines darkly comic short stories, powerful poems, and pulp fiction prose to create a heartbreaking and hilarious journey readers will not soon forget. Read How to See a Man About a Dog, collected writings, for free with Kindle Unlimited. Ebook available on Kindle, print copies available on Amazon The Bookpository, and more.
Welcome back to Tech Time. I'm your host, Nathan Mumm, and now it's time to go into our highlighted segment of the day with Mike's mesmerizing moment, brought to us by Story Coffee. This is Mike's mesmerizing moment, presented by Story Coffee. Visit storycoffee.com. All right, here's your question, Mike.
What are we
Metaverse,
talking about?
virtual worlds. Why do we create worlds different than the ones we live in now?
Well, we clearly, it's not popular, but
Yeah.
why do we create? Well, that's sort of the same idea as why we play video games or why we watch movie or other entertainment.
Okay.
It's escapist. We're trying to get out of our normal routines and lives and experience something that's different, fun, and maybe nostalgic or whatever the reason is that you are drawn to certain things like Super Mario Brothers or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just another form of entertainment It's not to say that some of these technologies can't be used for really cool things, but as far as creating a virtual world like Metaverse, I think it just falls under the same thing as we want to go places that we haven't seen.
All right,
like,
okay.
I'm going to travel to Rome.
There you go. All right, well, now we're going to move to our pick of the day. So we got this whiskey here. Our Clyde Mays Alabama-style whiskey, 85 proof, $39.99. What do you give it, a thumbs up or thumbs down, Mike?
I'll give it a thumbs up.
Give it a thumbs up?
I liked it. It wasn't high on the awesome scale for me, but it was good enough that I enjoyed it.
All right, I'll give it a thumbs up too. Odie, did you give it a thumbs up also?
Thumbs up.
All right, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on TechTime Radio. We hope that you had a chance to have that moment today in technology. The fun doesn't stop there. We recommend that you go to techtimeradio.com and join our fan list for the most important aspect of staying connected and winning some really great monthly prizes. We also have a few other ways to stay connected, including subscribing to our podcast on any podcast service, from Apple to Google and everything in between. We're also on YouTube, so check us out on youtube.com/techtimeradio, all one word. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did making it for you. From all of us at TechTime Radio, remember, Mumm's the word. Have a safe and fantastic week.